Welcome back to Lifestyle Seduction. I'm Josh Barr, and in this video, I want to talk about how to stop analysis paralysis and information overload, and how to get better at reading body language. Now, as you guys know, when I first started studying seduction and getting better with women, I got into pickup, and the first two books I read were The Game and Mystery Method. So, I still recommend that to guys who know absolutely jack shit about seduction and getting better with women. Mainly because, it's a good background story, and Mystery Method does give you some fundamental basic pickup theory, concepts, and techniques. Now, would I recommend you to do the openers and the lines in that book? No, those lines are old as shit, and I don't recommend that. But the theory and the techniques, they're still valid. Now, when I first started, I read The Game, Mystery Method, and The Art of Seduction. Those are kind of my foundation. And that's a lot of reading, man. It took a long time to read that. That's a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. But when I was reading, I was also going out all the time too. And back then, the seduction community is not what it is now, with the Facebook groups and thousands of YouTube videos. So it is good to have a base of knowledge to give you a starter pack or a toolkit or techniques. But it's an art, and it's a longer game than you think. So it is good. Again, I do recommend Mystery Method just from a starting training wheels point, but eventually you want to get past that. Now, when it comes to body language and analysis paralysis, information overload, I'll be the first one to admit that there's more books I haven't read than I have read. For the most part, this pile over here I've read cover to cover. This pile, I know I read The 4-Hour Work Week, but come on, man, Tools of Titans, that's a pretty thick book to get through. It's a good book, but I admit I still have to, read it. And the thing is, if you had to force yourself or power through it in one sitting, it's just way too much information to retain that. And I give you a headache just thinking about reading through the whole book in one sitting. It's a full-time job. But anyways, so when it comes to reading body language, or at least when I was starting to really pay attention to body language, and I have been in the game for maybe a year and a half, 2 years, and I really want to focus on getting better at body language. So I started buying all these body language books. Leo Lones is one of them, and this book. And I remember when I was reading this book, I think I was on the fourth chapter. And what they do is they show you a picture, and then they tell you this is the gesture, the signals, and they do a whole analysis what it means and the context, what to look for. And as I was at the fourth chapter, I was my brain was fried. It was just way too much information. I was wait, what were the first two or three? And then it was just too much information. It was information overload. So then I realized that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read one chapter a day, and I can focus on one body language signal. So what I would do is I would read a chapter at night or before work, and I would go to work and I would just see if I could capture or see what the book was talking about. So it was way easier for me to focus in on one observation versus going through all 12 chapters and being wait, what am I looking for again? What does this mean? Which was this one? It's just you don't even know what to look for. It's just too much. But if you focus on one thing at a time, it helps. Right, so so when it comes to like YouTube videos, and same thing with YouTube videos. I mean, guys just watch hours and hours of YouTube videos. I mean, I would recommend just watch one video or two and then put it into practice. Like, what did you learn from this video? And put it into practice. So for me, back in 2008, like YouTube wasn't what it is now. And I had a dedicated email just for like seduction advice and an email list. And all these email marketers were like give you all these promises or like the secrets to women and all that stuff. I mean, some of it was good and there was a lot of bullshit. But I had an email list just for seduction tips. And before I would go out like on like Thursday or Friday night, I would go to my email list and they'll be like, you know, look at this opener or this routine stack. Ooh, routine stack, right? Or, you know, look at this technique. So I would read the email and I would read the technique. You know, I'm gonna try that. You know, I don't like that. That's stupid. But I had like my techniques and like my go-to lines or whatever. I mean, this is like early. I mean, I was still a rookie in the game. So like, but you know what? I'm gonna try that. That's cool. I'm gonna try that line or I'm gonna try that technique or try. I'm gonna look at that. But I'll read like an email too, and then when I would go out, I would try it, and that's how I found out what worked and what didn't work. Because I mean, I might try something 4 or 5 times, and it was just like, yo, this is stupid. I'm not doing this shit ever again. But then I would try certain things. Oh, this is cool. Like this worked. Like I did see, you know, the response I was looking for, positive. But it was one thing at a time versus trying to remember everything and get that information overload. Now, you know, women complain that like men can't read the signals, the sex signals, which is true. Like, I mean, it takes time. It takes time to let the ideas and thoughts marinate in your mind and the exposure of it, because you could read about it or you could watch a video, but in the moment of actually going out and seeing it live, it's a lot faster than you think. And the more you put yourself out there, the more you're going to realize and be able to recognize what you're looking for and what it means. So, you know, going back to like when you're first learning pickup, like, oh, you got to count IOIs, you know, what does an IOI mean? And whatever, that's different. But the classic example of the IOI or the body language read was when a girl's playing with her hair, right? When she's playing with her hair and like she's smiling or whatever. I mean, that's like the classic, you know, example of her curling her hair. Now, I've seen women do that and like the guy just doesn't pick it up. Like he's just oblivious to like, and like, I mean, obviously like I know what to look for. So like I'm watching from a distance and like, I mean, the body language is all there. Like she's interested, and then the guy comes back and is like, I don't know, man. I was just talking to her, but you know, I wasn't feeling it. I don't know if the vibe was there. Like I don't know. And I'm like, dude, she was like all over you, bro. Like it was just like, but it becomes easier. And usually when a guy's like first starting to like, you know, talk to a woman, like he's so nervous or he's focused on like the conversation, and he doesn't have the mental bandwidth to read, to like keep the conversation going and like read the body language and his surroundings and what's going on. But the more reps you get and the calibration, the easier it is to see that and the eye contact. So there's levels to it. Like, yeah, it gets to the point where you start doing like micro expressions. Like there's levels to this shit. And you gotta respect someone who can really read body language like really good. So when it comes to like micro expressions and I mean insane body language, like I mean this is some advanced stuff. I would recommend the Ellipsis Manual by Chase Hughes, but that's some advanced shit. Like I mean that's, you know, it's kind of scary how advanced, super advanced the Ellipsis Manual is. And look, man, if you can't read, you know, the old mystery myth and shit, like if you can't see the grand gesture of like some girl playing with her hair, I mean, you're not gonna read micro expressions. It's like so subtle. And you know, if I'm talking to you right now and I start going like this, like I mean, obviously I don't have hair to play with, but that's a pretty grand gesture. You know, I look like I'm fucking, you know, Hulk Hogan, like going like this. But like, I mean, sometimes it's pretty sad, dude. Like I've seen girls like, you know, kind of like touch a guy and grab him, and, you know, and like this guy still fucks it up, dude. Like, yo, like she was right there. You were like on the 1 yard line, bro. What the fuck, man? Anyways, like, but it gets to that point, right? It gets to that point where you could see body language from a distance while you're in conversation, flow of conversation, and it's possible to where you're talking to someone and you're reading their body language, but then you could look off to the corner of your eye and you start reading someone else's body language at the same time, and then someone behind them. So it gets, you know, it takes practice. It takes practice, but the information overload. Yeah, I mean, try to read a book through cover to cover in one sitting is just too much, too soon. You gotta let your mind, you know, soak it up, and let it marinate and plant that seed, and then come back tomorrow and then pick something else up. It takes time, but you know, just read a chapter a day. Focus on that one thing. You know, watch a YouTube video or two. Focus on that. You know, what did you learn from this video? What was the point of this video? And go from there. But you can't get better at body language. But usually, I'll say this, and before I wrap up the video here, is when it comes to body language, it's not so much, I mean, it's reading other people's body language, but then being conscious of your own body language and what are you saying, because other people are reading your body language too. And until you realize how important body language is, you're not consciously conscious of your own body language. Like you're on, until you study body language, you're unconscious to body language, including your own. So one of the things is to, and this is where you start becoming detached and like reading situations versus being emotional. But yeah, like looking at the mirror and like, okay, how am I standing? How do I look? And when you're in social situations, you got to be conscious of your own body language to project what you're really trying to say. But with that, like, comment, subscribe. Be sure to check out my other YouTube channels. Check out my website, lifestyleseduction.com, where I put up, it's pretty much the hub of everything else I put up. But until then, one chapter at a time.